chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe.
Yeah, that's me again.
Help to make the season bright.
Pounding on the piano, singing. Oops, came off.
Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight.
Hey, everybody.
They know
It is Sunday, December 22nd, 2019. And we are here once again for the LICNY podcast. This is the LICNY Christmas edition 2019. It's the first one because the podcast began last March. So here we are. And you know why we're here, right? You know who I am, right? Well, there's some newbies around, so let me tell you again. I'm Gary Colby, and I'm here most Sundays, or the Sundays that I can. It's not even most Sundays, but whenever I can, to bring you this podcast, brought to you by Legalize It CNY, our Facebook legalization for cannabis for adults, advocacy and activism group. We come here to discuss and to debunk lies, to give you ammunition for when you're having conversations about cannabis between one another, at home, at work, in public, in private, so that when legalization initiatives come around, we have the right words, we have the right arguments, we have the right facts, the data, the peer-reviewed studies, and we have debunked the craziness that has been pervasive since, for nearly a century. We bring truth to power. It's what we do, and I'm glad here to be catalyst to make it happen. So we are sponsored by my businesses. I know. You got to give me that. Gary's Music in downtown Rome, 229 West Dominic Street in Rome, across from the Capitol Theater, where in the back of the store I have a business within a business called Gigs. And that's not where I get jobs for musicians. That's hard enough for them to do on their own. Gigs is the acronym for Gary's Indoor Garden Supplies. And that's what I sell. Stuff to grow things with indoors. Enough said. People are doing very well with it too. So if that's something you're interested in, come and see me. And within the two stores, I do sell CBD products, a full breadth of CBD products from both EcoSciences CBD Drip and Green Roads, who are, in my opinion, and probably yours and those of your doctors, the cleanest, most consistent CBD products on the market, bar none. So check us out for those. Hey, I want to give a special welcome today to any and all new LICNY group members. Are we at 1,200 yet? Man, we got to be close. But I want to remind you, let's be comfortable, you're among friends here, guys. You certainly are. And I know I've made some great ones. So please read and reread our mission statement there so you can fully understand and adopt our common goals. Your decision to join our group is a brave one. No, really. It's really a brave one. You're putting your name and face out there in support of a cause you and we all believe in. So I thank you. We all thank you. This is how change happens. when people from across all political, religious, racial, socioeconomic, and adult age groups agree on anything. That's amazing, and yet it's exactly what we've done. And if you're watching us or listening on YouTube or monitoring us covertly, out of necessity, you're just as welcome to be here. Maybe even more because you're probably in a situation where your livelihood depends on your notoriety around cannabis. And that's cool. We all, or most of us, have been there. And because we are pretty diverse, our commentary can be just as varied. Now, this has not been an issue. This is going to be just a reminder. But please, guys, when you're striking your keyboards, come up with words you've thought about a little bit. Words that have an impact. Words that mean something. I mean, let's have thoughtful adult conversations around cannabis. And if you need to, sure, go ahead and swear a little bit if that's your style. I'm okay with it. It's adults only. But be a part of the conversation rather than just piping in, such and such is an asshole. You can do that. But picture us sitting around a table having the conversation. That would raise some eyebrows, I think, don't you? I say all this because I'm convinced pretty soon, very soon, there will be a major announcement about New York State adult use cannabis legalization, probably within the next 30, 40 days. So am I saying, yippee, we win, the war is over? Hardly. Not. But if you're paying close attention here, there have been some remarkable developments. And we need to be ready with timely, focused responses, even public protests if that's what it takes. And we also need to make sure we put ourselves in a positive light, right? So let's be aware of that and let that guide our comments and our behaviors. Take the governor's hiring of this new, whatever he's called, the new weed czar. Here he is. He's the director, the newly hired director of cannabis programs, with an S, plural. See, there are only two types of marijuana programs, right? The medical, and that big 5-syllable word they like to use, recreational. I prefer adult use, don't you? And we already have New York schmedical program, right? Such as it is. So the new czar, come on, czar. There he is. So the new czar, he's got to be getting ready for something, right? He's getting ready to unleash his adult use recreational proclamation on our eager asses. And his name is Norm. Hey, Norm. If his middle name only began with an L, right? He'd be normal. NORML. The National Organization for the Reformation of Marijuana Law. But it's not. Oddly enough, his last name sounds pretty much like beer bong. I shit you not, people. Normal beer bong. Marijuana head. Normal beer bong marijuana head. How'd you like to have that on your office door? Okay. I kid, Norm. And, okay, respectfully, he's Norman Birnbaum. That's Birenbaum. And I think we need to give Norman at least some benefit of the doubt for now until we hear more from him, okay? I really do. He worked on cannabis legalization in Rhode Island, but they still don't have it. They don't have adult use anyway. And they came up with their own version of decrim. We can't put all that on Norm. He had political forces to deal with there too. and the Times. And their decrim is pretty much like ours, and you know how we feel about that. And they do have a better medical marijuana program for sure than ours. They have flower, and they honor out-of-state patients who've bought cards. Even New York people can go there with your cards, become a guest patient, and buy from their flower stock dispensaries. And Norm's been in it. You know, he's been hired to make it happen in New York, and he's not new. So we want to give him some credit for his experience and some credit for his battles won and lost, because we all learn from him. And you have to assume Cuomo's going to stuff this into the budget in January. That's what's going to happen. Pretty much everybody assumes that's what's going to happen. And we should also assume he's finding some muscles this time. Muscles he could not find last spring when the legislature and we needed him. But legalization is his party now. That's his baby. And they all know it, so we'll see what happens. And we don't have a lot to go on when it comes to our highest priority, to the things we care about most, to the one point we care about more than anything, the right, the freedom to grow our own, to cultivate for ourselves. Now, there are some optimistic things to consider there. I like that Crystal Peoples-Stokes, who has been quite a fighter for our side, and she has openly supported the idea of home grow in the past. And she still seems to be in the thick of all the conversation, so that's encouraging. I like that. I also like that our sheriff, and those of you who haven't had a chance to view my exchange with our sheriff, go to the group site or the YouTube channel and take a look at it. It's an hour long, but it's all about your freedom. A lot of good things were said there, things you should know about. But when we got to home grow at the very end of our conversation, and I thank John, my cameraman, for making sure it happened, because I almost forgot, our sheriff seemed to take it as the least of his priorities. He even went so far as to say, we can't do anything about that. Now, be sure we were talking about personal home cultivation, not black market, large scale, sell it in bulk out the back door. We're just talking about what we want to do, grow medicine for ourselves. And he says, we can't do anything about that. Yeah, got my attention too. So since there's no logical, civil, or otherwise responsible reasoning to oppose home grow, why are we not guaranteed it in the first place? Well, we know. There are still those usual drug warriors, of course, who oppose all things cannabis, and unfortunately also the likes of a very, very powerful lobby. An industry that's just beginning to take hold in America, and it's already raking in billions. Some of those companies were founded under the very same guise of freedom and wellness for all, just like we fight for today. I'm talking about the corporate cannabis industry in the United States, both nationally and, more importantly, to those currently in New York State operating as medical marijuana providers, and how that narrow foundation of profit motive, greed, if you will, dominates the corporate conscience. They contributed $250,000 collectively to the political campaign of our New York State governor, and then, through a Freedom of Information Law Act demand from NORML, not Normal, from NORML, the National Organization for the Reformation of Marijuana Law, we find out that they drafted a letter urging our governor to disallow our rights and freedoms to grow. Why? They say they won't be able to survive without a monopoly. You kidding me? I mean, it might be reasonable to say they can't compete in terms of gourmet quality, organic, hand-fed, and loved crafted small batch cannabis, but that's never going away, guys. And the quality of that caliber will never be grown the way it's grown for the masses. And yet, I still welcome a corporate cannabis market, at least an open market where opportunity exists for all and good business plans, and a level playing field competition that decides who succeeds. And let's not forget the patients. Yeah, of course I'm sympathetic to their pain and their well-deserved relief. We will most likely have price parity with neighboring states. We know our governor and the governors and various reps of legalized states have already met to formulate a plan. And we know the pricing in Massachusetts. So I would ask patients, could you afford your medicine at those prices, even tax-free? It's a purely subjective answer and solution. If it's legal and you can afford it, you'll buy it. You'll go to the stores and you'll buy it. Casual users will grab some, for whenever they want it. But if it's your lifeline, if it's something you depend on for less pain or anxiety or a good night's sleep, and you use it every day instead of horrible prescription crap, it still may be way out of reach for you financially. So what'll you do? You'll do what you do now. You'll go to the black market, which sounds all evil, doesn't it? The black market. Well, it sounds all evil on purpose. But the black market might be just a home cultivator who's got it dialed in. And soon, if we seek it, if we demand it, if we refuse to accept denial, it may actually become legal to be self-sufficient. Self-sufficient. What a concept. Or maybe we can share our knowledge, share our practices, our seeds. Maybe we co-op as free citizens of the USA. Government can put in place some reasonable boundaries and regulations that responsible adults can follow, and we'll all be fine. The personal growers, the craft growers willing to put in the time and work, and sure, the cannabis industry, who's poised to do what industries do. They put people to work producing something people want and will buy over and over for a profit. We can accept that. We can all get along. The current cannabis industry knows that. Home grow is allowed in all but one adult use legalized states, Washington. And even they have legislation pending to finally allow home cultivation. So then what's it going to be? Will you deliver some ill-conceived, over-regulated, freedom-ignoring adult use legalization plan, Mr. Normal Beer Bong? Or are we about to see the birth of a well-thought, fair, equitable to all, adult recreational cannabis legalization plan, including the freedom to cultivate and process one's own supply and to share with other adults as we see fit kind of plan, Mr. Norman Beerbaum, sir? See, I'm prepared to endorse either approach when it comes to addressing your intentions and efforts as they unfold, Mr. Beerbaum. So for now, let's just go with Mr. B, shall we? Happy holidays, Mr. B. Or how about just B? You can call me G. Or you can call me Big, like my band buddies do. We'll give each other the benefit of the doubt for now, B. And we'll see you in January. All right. That's the news. Hey, thanks for the responses to my Christmas song that I put up before. I know. And I'm sorry if it bores the hell out of some of you, but it's who I am. And I'm an old rock and roll piano pounder and singer. Now I'm too deaf to be on stages, but you know that connection between music makers, and cannabis is historically very significant. As you can see in the film Grass is Greener on Netflix. If you have not already, You have to watch that movie, folks. It talks a lot about music and the musical connection between cannabis and its history, but there's so much wonderful information there. So many things that you can take and use. And as for the LICNY group, watch for a widening scope of what's found on our group page going forward. I'm seeing it becoming a community of its own. Within reason, if you have a tune or a song that strikes a chord with your senses, a stoner epiphany, a recipe, a recommendation, a book, TV show, film, and if you think others in our group would dig it, I'm going to say sure. Go ahead and share it. Go ahead. It's your site, it's your group, not just mine. Or just mine wouldn't be a group, would it? And if you want to show plants, I guess. We have members across the country, and some of them are growing cannabis legally. But I will tell you all, you can't market your cannabis here. And you don't want to be in a publicly visible group that would allow you to do that. It's risky. It's a great big internet, has all kinds of ways to connect. So go ahead and do that, but don't do it in public. LICNY is public. It's a private group on Facebook, but membership only requires that you're an adult and you be nice. So that's not exactly under the radar, is it? So I'm going to clean house from time to time, and I'll delete old stuff, and I'll delete posts that would seem to be just passing thoughts, etc. But so long as we're cool with each other, and we're supportive and loving, then let CNY be your respite. It certainly is mine. So I'm going to wrap it up today and remind you, so until next year, which is only weeks away, or if we get some next major news development, I'm just going to say, Merry Christmas, you damn stoner criminals, with a lot of love from Gary here. And also on behalf of my co-administrator Dave and my on-location videographer Johnny, we are all wishing you a Merry, very, very Merry Christmas. And of course, peace and pot.